Hello, welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for being here. Today we are bringing you as much information as we can
about Apex Legends.
Yeah, the board game, which we think may just be the biggest IP, the biggest board game of the year.
Yep.
We'll have to see when it actually locks and loads, but we thought instead of you reading through article after article, we'd condense it all down into a approachable video so you know what to expect, at least at this stage in the conversation. Sure. By the way, we will be getting a prototype copy of this game. Hit the subscribe button down below if you're excited to actually see real-life gameplay, previews, overviews, our thoughts, analysis on the characters, strategy guides, all that nonsense. Make sure you're tuned into this channel because we're going to have it all.
We're going to have it all.
And hopefully be one of the first.
Hopefully.
The moment it arrives, I'm ripping it open.
That's right, for sure.
Okay, so high level, surface level, this is going to be a collaboration of EA. Who's the publisher of Apex Legends?
So that would be Respawn Entertainment.
Respawn Entertainment, and then Glass Cannon Unplugged. EA, of course, is a massive multi-billion-dollar corporation.
Yep.
Respawn is the original creators of Apex. They're
Apex, Titanfall 2.
Yep.
What is it? The Battle, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and Medal of Honor Above and Beyond.
And then Glass Cannon.
Also, they're Academy Award winners. The only video game group that's actually Academy Award winners for Best Short Documentary Film for the Colette film inside of the Medal of Honor game.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Either way. And then Glass Cannon, for those of you that are not familiar, is a board game publisher that works a lot with IP franchises.
Yep.
Currently has produced and delivered a Frostpunk the board game, raising $2.2 million with 19,000 original backers.
Yep.
They're currently working on a Dying Light, and the founders of Glass Cannon are the original designers, developers, part of the team that created This War of Mine, the board game as well. So they work very closely with IPs, and they've done a very good job at managing, handling, and transitioning IPs into the board game tabletop space, so you can trust this company with your investment.
Yes, for sure.
Being said, this will be a Kickstarter. It's going to be launching and running on May 17th, 2023. So go ahead and follow the link down below to keep an eye on that Kickstarter page. For those of you that are not familiar with the Kickstarter model, more or less, it's a pre-order system that's not a pre-order system. Publishers in the board game industry need that capital in order to create the product, and they don't want to have to deal with the warehousing fees of storing box upon box upon box upon box.
It also allows them to create nicer materials, give you more resin minis, and keep that cost at a somewhat reasonable level.
They can kind of see where the market is. If there's a ton of people excited about this, you will unlock and get more content throughout the course of a Kickstarter campaign. So, a small publisher like Glass Cannon, which is a small publisher in our industry, I know, even though they're working with an IP like this, they'll go to Kickstarter to test market and see who's out there, what the audience is wanting. They'll have a conversation with you about what you actually want in terms of characters or legends you want to bring over, different types of gear and equipment or landscapes you want to be battling in, and how you want the game to work in some ways. And then they'll deliver that to you. You'll be the first wave of people to get it. I assume there'll probably be other special things, limited edition promos or character packs or stuff like that you cannot get outside of the Kickstarter model, but we don't know any of those details yet. So keep an eye on the Kickstarter page as that information starts to come out.
For sure.
Let's talk about what is actually going to be coming in the actual board game. The board game, from what we know now, is a 2 to 4 player.
2 to 4 player, although it can play with higher player counts according to the information we've got. There's probably going to be some sort of an expansion that allows you to do additional characters.
I think the base box is 2 to 4.
Yeah.
Because it's actually going to be starting with 4 characters. We'll go through those in just a second to give you more detail on who those legends are going to be. But 2 to 4 players. Expansions will bring in more player counts.
Correct.
It is a team-based skirmish game.
Right.
Can be 1 versus 1, legend versus legend, or you can have multiple team members out there, because Apex is very well known for that.
Battle Royale system, yeah.
You're going to be grabbing loot from various different resources across the map, and you're going to be fighting to the death. It says that it's going to require some innovative or tactical thinking throughout the course of the game. I don't know if that means the game environment itself will be changing, or if you as players have to respond to the type of teams you're going up against.
Well, it did specifically say that there is going to be cards that you're playing that give you the ability to utilize different skills and sets that you have. You have your own special abilities as well as different cards you put down. down, and then
so asymmetric characters.
Yep, and you'll react to other people's use of their cards with reactionary cards
and
to be able to react
unlike
against those.
other miniature skirmishes games that some of you might be familiar with, things like Warhammer, this will probably be on more of a gridded system, card-based movement and stuff like that. You won't have to have a measuring stick out or like drawing lines and charts in order to figure out what the math is to play the game. It's designed to be highly strategic but simple to play, meaning that new players should be able to dive into it easily, but there should be enough depth to support things like tournament play going down the line. They've already started talking about the concept of seasons within this game.
Seasonal allotments, things that they're going to be throwing out every different season to give you special updates, which nobody does in the board game space right now, and in that same way at least. They do updates.
There are a few companies that have tried something similar. I mean, and I would say like things like Warhammer have these packs that come out in terms of like new models and new miniatures that allow you to continue fighting in a tabletop setting, but the tournament play here seems like they're going to be supporting it in a similar way to something like Magic or Pokemon or any of these larger, like every wave you get a new box and you get stuff to do. That'll be based largely on how well this Kickstarter does. My assumption is this publisher is going in with two things in mind. First off, to focus on this Kickstarter, right? To get a great product with as much stuff as they can give, as deluxified as possible, into the hands of the backers. And then after that, based off of what Apex Legends itself does as a video game franchise, they want to be able to match up with that, keep pace with that, and start releasing content that support and continue to support the characters as new legends come out, as new maps come out to play, as new scenarios are drafted. And like you said, they're setting up for tournament play. They're already thinking about that.
Which is just awesome.
If you're backing this, I believe the publisher is going to be highly focused on supporting localized and game convention-based play. So if you're backing this and you're getting a copy of it, you should be able to find and join some type of gaming community or gaming group, or even start your own that the publisher is actually going to be leaning into and investing resources into, which is very exciting.
That is very exciting.
That is one of the elements that I think I'm the most intrigued about. It is a long-term thing. I'm excited to see where they go with it, but having a publisher say from the get-go, this is a big enough IP, we are going to try to support it in the same way the video game supports it.
That would be amazing. Absolutely amazing.
It'd be very cool. Okay, let's talk about the 4 characters that you're going to actually get in the game. I have them pulled up here. So you're going to be getting Apex Legends Wraith. Wraith is a little bit more of a psychological character. You can read a bio and a backstory on each one of these. If we want to pop over to the EA website here. So we have an interdimensional skirmisher. There is some backstory here. We don't need to read it all. Basically, what happened with her is she is a scientist who volunteered herself for a science experiment. Was tortured and imprisoned by someone who betrayed her, another scientist in the faction. Started hearing voices that turned out to be potentially an ally of hers or herself from a interdimensional future being.
Interesting.
Place. Something along those lines. And if my iPad was not so dead it kept dimming, it would be lovely.
It would be.
And she broke out of the facility, and now she's actually fighting in the Apex Legends arenas in order to find more information about her and her storied history, because a lot of these arenas are set in these science experiments. Now, that being said, another thing that has been revealed slightly is the concept of some degree of 3D terrain. We're not sure what that's going to look like at the moment, but it does seem to indicate that the map that you're playing on, just like the actual video game, will be on some type of tiered or structural level. Very interested to see how they approach doing 3D terrain. That is a complicated thing.
It's an extremely complicated thing, because if you make them too tall, then you can't see around them. It causes all kinds of line of sight issues.
So the core abilities in the video game from this character, from the Wraith, is Skirmisher, where you're able to actually see the highest value of different care packages, Into the Void, Voices from the Void, and Dimensional Rift. These are going to be things like transporting very fast, things like getting warning signs when there's danger that's approaching, and other things like moving other allies through safety points or repositioning yourself through safety points. So
really cool with like cards you're able to do that maneuvering and things.
A lot of very fast movement, a lot of very strategic plays. This is kind of adjacent to maybe a ninja in some ways.
Sure.
Here we're going to have our lovely Gibraltar. Gibraltar. He is a individual who was brought up here to protect his friends. He specifically did not like that his friends were going into the arena to fight for money and wealth and success. And He has joined the battle himself as a way to be a shield and a protector. He will shut down the other team. He will block. He will defend. He is really part of your support network.
So he's basically your tank.
He in some ways is your tank. So the cards, or not cards, but the skill sets that we have here from the video game is support. Again, he's going to be able to set down some type of shield. He's going to be able to set down some heavy defensive positions. Dome of protection. This is a big dome that like circles an area that keeps you from actually getting hit for a period of time while you're doing things like establishing checkpoints. We have a gun shield, and we have a defensive bombardment, which is just rockets that start coming down, but they actually, just shut down a region for a little bit. So I'm curious to see.
Kind of like a paladin almost in a way, You're
in some ways.
Yeah, okay.
In some ways.
Cool.
Here we are going to have the Bloodhound. The Bloodhound is a 40-year-old hunter out there seeking and using the
that almost looks like World War II gas mask on his face.
Very, very intense. Probably one of my favorite characters stylistically. Okay. Very excited to actually have the model. Let's see here. Let's pull up the Legends. Nope, not this. Nope. Is it from there? No, not the fandom page. Where's the actual page? Electronic Arts. There we go. So the Bloodhound, technological tracker. So the big abilities here is, whereas you had the Wraith that was a little bit more stealth and high movement, this guy's going to be able to scout and get a sense of what's happening around the table. Very positionally aware, very, very aware of like what's happening. Okay. So we have Recon, which is going to be being able to see where other people are positioned. Eye of the Allfather, Tracker, and Beast of the Hunt. These are going to be things that allow you to get a sense of where people are moving and how they're going to be reacting.
That's cool.
So I could see some stuff in the board game that allows you to actually maybe control some people's movement. Or trace paths and figure out where they are if you have things that maybe have some hidden movement attached to them.
Sure.
Not really sure yet, but that's the character that we have. And the fourth character is going to be your kind of classic battalion leader.
Bangalore.
This is going to be Bangalore. So, let's see if I can find the EA page again. So she's a professional soldier. She is up here as a representative of the military. She escaped from a destruction of one of the home base facilities she was in, escaped to like a jungle area with her brother, I believe, was able to survive some pretty storied events. So the ability she has, as you could assume, assault, smoke launcher, double time, and rolling thunder. Rolling thunder is just a missile strike. Nice. Double time is quick movement. Smoke launcher is going to be a little bit of a defensive positioning type thing, allowing you to either move up for an attack or pull back. Cool. And then assault's going to be able to like look down the barrel of your gun and just pull the trigger.
I love it.
So those are the 4 core pack characters. We're not sure what other legends might be incorporated into this, but these are the 4 that are going to be in that base box, which I find interesting because it's not just your classic roles.
It's true.
Like, you do have some stuff that are maybe a little bit more classic, but these are going to be powerful, and I think unique playing characters to mix in here. Outside of that, the game has been in development for over 2 years now. Yeah. Apparently, they signed this agreement and were just hush-hush about it for a long time.
For a very long time, yes.
They're working very closely with EA, which is very exciting on the IP, so they're actually getting a chance to dive into the art assets and create as much as possible. I'm not sure if everything's going to be completely redesigned and new. I don't know if they're going to be using some art assets from the actual game.
I would think that they would be allowed to use those, wouldn't you?
I think they'll be using some. I do hope to see some things reskinned or redesigned or restylized in the same way that like some elements of Frostpunk were as well. So outside of that, anything else that are like major things that we're aware of?
Oh, well, I was like, I did a deep dive into Respawn Entertainment just because I think that they're a very unique company when it comes to games, because they take a very deep dive into the history aspects of things. They're really big at telling stories, and that's super important to them, which is probably part of the reason why they won the Academy Award for Best Short Film documentary there. But I think a lot of what they've done in putting all these different things together is create great backstories for all of their legends. And moving forward with that, I think I'm really excited to see what Glass Cannon does, because
I think
really
there's
good
more
at
opportunity in a board game in some ways to tell a story in a different way. And so I totally agree with you there.
Yeah. I think that would be great.
Very cool. Hey, super excited about this.
Yeah, man.
Stay tuned here to the channel. We're going to have more content as soon as we know more information. We wanted to get everything condensed and out to you all as fast as possible. We're very excited. Cannot wait to actually play this.
I am so excited.
So we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.